Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a choice that can seriously make or break your website, Apache versus Nginx. And believe me, this isn't just some deep-in-the-weeds technical detail. It's the very foundation of your entire online world.
So, you're building something for the web. Right at the very start, you're faced with this huge question. And it's a choice that's going to dictate the speed, the stability, and just how big your project can grow for years to come.
And trust me, this is not a minor detail. We are talking about the engine that actually powers your site. The wrong choice could mean slow load times, frequent crashes, and a whole lot of frustration. But the right one, it can set you up to handle massive growth like it's nothing.
All right, so to really get to the bottom of this rivalry, we've got to pop the hood and see how these things actually work. You know, all their differences in performance, they all boil down to one thing, a really fundamental difference in their core design.
Okay, so picture Apache like a traditional restaurant, right? A new group of customers comes in, they get their own dedicated waiter. It's a simple, super reliable system that's been working for decades.
But what happens when the dinner rush hits? And I mean a massive rush. Say 10,000 people all try to connect to your server at the exact same time. What does Apache's model do then?
Well, in our little restaurant world, that means you'd have to instantly hire thousands of waiters. You can just imagine how chaotic and expensive that would get, right? Each one of those processes eats up memory, and when you try to scale up, it can really slow things down.
Now, Nginx is playing a totally different game. It uses what's called an event-driven model. This is like having just one incredible super waiter who can juggle every single table's orders all at the same time without breaking a sweat. It's a true master of multitasking.
So, what happens when that massive wave of connections hits Nginx? We're talking 50,000, maybe even more simultaneous requests. And for Nginx, it's not a problem.
Yeah, that's it right there. That's the core difference. Nginx handles that insane load with just a few worker processes. It's incredibly light and efficient. And, you know, this one architectural choice, it changes everything.
All right, so now that we get the basic design difference, let's throw them in the ring. It's time for a head-to-head showdown. We're going to compare them across 3 key rounds: how they serve up content, how they process dynamic stuff, and how you configure them.
Round 1. Static content. We're talking about the simple stuff: images, CSS files, JavaScript, the basic building blocks of your site. This is all about pure, raw speed.
And honestly, the numbers don't lie. Because of that event-driven design, Nginx consistently dishes out static files 2 to 3 times faster than Apache. It's a clear, decisive win for Nginx in this round.
Okay, but what about when things get more complicated? I'm talking about dynamic content, stuff that has to be generated on the fly, like your Facebook feed or an online shopping cart. This is where the story gets interesting. Apache can handle this stuff internally, which is pretty straightforward. Nginx, on the other hand, passes that job off to a separate service, which can be a bit more complex to set up.
All right, final round, configuration. And for a lot of developers and system admins, this one is a huge deal. Apache is legendary for its flexibility. Nginx, true to form, prioritizes raw performance and security with a more rigid, centralized approach.
So, Apache's claim to fame here is the famous .htaccess file. It lets you drop configuration rules, just like this one, right inside a project folder. Super convenient, right? Especially in shared hosting. But, and this is a big but, there's a performance hit, because Apache has to go looking for these files with every single request.
Okay, so we've seen the technical differences. Now for the big question, when do you actually use each one? Let's match the server to the job.
You're probably going to want Apache in your corner if, say, you're in a shared hosting setup like cPanel, or your whole app is built around using .htaccess files for its logic. Oh, and for older, legacy apps that need very specific Apache modules to even run, yeah, Apache's your guy.
But if you're building for scale, like massive, crazy scale, or you need a super fast reverse proxy, or if speed is just the most important thing in the world to you, then yeah, Nginx is the undisputed champ. I mean, there's a reason the big players like Netflix and Airbnb bet on it.
All right, the bell has rung, the rounds are over, it's time to go to the judge's decision. Who is the ultimate winner of this web server showdown?
And looking at the scorecard, we have a split decision. Apache takes the prize for flexibility and how easily it handles dynamic content. Nginx absolutely dominates on performance, handling tons of connections, and just being way more efficient with resources.
It really looks like they both have their strengths.
So the big takeaway is there's no single best choice for every project. It all depends. Or is there? What if I told you you don't actually have to choose?
This is the real pro move. You don't pick one, you use them together. In this hybrid setup, Nginx is like the bouncer and host at the front door of your club. It handles all the easy stuff, greeting guests, serving static files super fast. But when a complex, dynamic request comes in, it smartly passes it off to the expert in the back, Apache, to handle it. You get the best of both worlds. So, if you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this. Apache equals flexibility and dynamic content power. Nginx equals pure, unadulterated performance and scale.
And that really leaves us with one final, pretty important thought. Your web server, it's the foundation of everything you build. So now that you know the real difference, you've got to ask yourself, is the foundation you're using today really built for where you want to go tomorrow?